Hello, this is CK7, and you guessed it, we're back for another commentary, this time for Disney vs. Non-Disney Villains, Part 2, Round 10. Gosh, we're already on Round 10? This series has gone by pretty quickly. Kind of, but yeah, it's gone on pretty quickly. That's kind of hard to believe. So yeah, again, I'll be doing both parts on the same commentary. And also, as you may have guessed, yeah, YouTube is still acting very weird for me, so I'm forced to do my commentaries on the forum until then. So yeah, this is a really good round. There's a lot of awesome moments in here, so let's go ahead and get started. We start off with the Illuminati, which I'm assuming these guys are also from Gargoyles. Which is pretty obvious, because Xanatos is in there. And I did just watch your commentary, Senator Man, so I'm curious myself who the other guys are that Xanatos is talking to. If it's someone we've already seen in this series, or if it's someone new. Alright, first fight. The Assassin versus Cobra Commander. This is a good fight.
I have a visual on the target.
Not familiar with the Assassin. I'm assuming he's also from Gargoyles? Yeah, kind of watching this right now. There's not really too much to say on this fight. At least, not that much interesting, besides saying that it's really well edited.
When I find out who hired you, there'll be no place remote enough to run.
Yeah, sorry about that silence, I just didn't have much to say. Okay, we have Megavolt versus Technis. Good to see Megavolt is back. And, okay, that was a little creepy. Wait, he has wires for tons? Yeah, like I said, I never seen an episode of Danny Phantom with Technis in it, so I don't know that much about him. But anyway, like I said, good to see Megavolt is back. And interesting that he's going to be recruited by Yzma, I think. Hope we see more of the other members of the Fearsome Five later on. And that's the end of Technis, I'm assuming. He didn't last that long in this war, did he? Alright, now we have Anansi versus Beastman. So, Mirage sends Anansi to Agrabah to deal with, Skeletor. Yeah, sorry, can't talk today. But Beastman confronts the giant spider. So it's good to see another Gargoyle villain. Or at least I'm assuming it's from Gargoyles. A nice use of the Black Jaguars from the Emperor's New Groove. Alright, here we have Savarius versus Mindbender. And Savarius tries to join up with Negaduck, but Mindbender comes in to crash the party. By the way, nice choice of music for the rest of this round. It's really epic. Yeah, just kind of watching this. You know, am I the only one that notices that Savarius looks pretty different from how we saw him earlier? Because he looks kind of, he looks a little older. His face is slightly structured differently. I mean, am I the only one that notices that? I don't know. And that's gotta hurt. Alright, here we have Hecate and Devimon versus Skeleton King and Coinlaw. So we have Stalker, who sends 2 of the Acolytes to take another crystal from the Skeleton King. Yeah, when I first heard this fight on the forum, it kind of threw me off at first because we have a Disney and non-Disney team-up versus another Disney and non-Disney team-up, but it makes sense. Because we have Hecate versus Skeleton King and Queen Law versus Devimon. You know, Queen Law has such cat eyes, and I know she's like a leopard person or whatever. You know, interesting thing about Queen Law is that, I found out that she's actually based off of the Queen Law from the original Tarzan stories. Which is interesting, because that means she's one of the few television villains to be actually based off of an original storybook character. So I find that very interesting. Also good to see more of the Acolytes get some action. So far we've had Hecate, Devimon, Dalanois, and we kinda had the Dark Dragon get his own fight, even though that was more a flashback. So all we need now is the Odin from Heavy Metal 2000 to get a fight. Alright, now we have Gravatina, Warhawk, and Gantu versus Vexus. So, good to see Gravatina finally given a fight. I have watched the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command show when I was a kid, but I don't remember much of Gravatina. That was a long time ago. As for Vexus, I know she's from My Life as a Teenage Robot, which I've only watched a few episodes, but I don't think I've seen any episodes with Vexus in it. So practically, up to this point, all of Zurg's forces have been given a fight, except for Hamsterville, who I'm assuming will get a fight in the next round. I'm just gonna have to take a guess. You know, I'll have to agree with you, man. This part is actually ironic that Vexus is voiced by the same person who does Yzma, and she gets killed by the sun. Alright, now we have Hades and the Headless Horseman versus Samhain. You know, it's about time we have Hades given a fight, because this is his first fight in Part 2. His last fight was with Eris back, you know, at the end of Part 1. And that was a long time ago. And it's also good to finally see the Headless Horseman in the series, because he's a very obscure Disney villain, and he's a classic. And like I said, I've never seen the real Ghostbusters, so I don't know that much about this Samhain character. And Hades finds that Eris is still alive. Well, I mean, of course she's still alive, she's a goddess. That was funny. And back in Camelot.
In every game, there are winners and there are losers. Is that so?
That was really cool how you managed to get Robotnik and Malice to talk to each other. And of course we have Darkheart and the Wizard of Wonderland. And Firelord Ozai and Jafar burst into the area. Which this makes all the villains a bit, you know, aware of all this.
There's a new order now.
It's time for this world to end in fire, and for a new world to be born from the ashes.
Oh boy, what's Ruber gonna think of this when he returns? probably not going to be that happy. So yeah, that was part 1, and yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't have that much to say about part 1. It was still good, but just not much stuck out to me. Alright, let's go ahead and do part 2 then. You have Karai meet up with the Shredder, who we finally get to see the Shredder's true form.
Proceed as planned, Master.
Good. My body is prepared, and the biocides have almost finished healing my flesh. Soon, I will be myself again. And so, I stand before the world.
Reborn. But we have little time to waste.
Alright, first up, Zurg versus Shredder, and this is a little loud. And just like with Hades, it's about time we saw Zurg get a fight of his own.
Are you familiar with an Elfusian death drink?
Okay, I'll admit, that is actually pretty funny. Zurg trying to do kung fu with a Japanese samurai slash American crime lord slash robot alien. I'm serious, I think it's a weird combination for a villain.
Now. Yes, Master.
Okay, you know, I feel really sorry for Stockman at this point. Because he's just ahead on robot spider legs. I mean, how embarrassing is that? I mean, imagine you saw that guy walking into your house or whatever.
Stop that. Power of the transmat. Emperor Zurg is not likely to take this well.
Oh yeah, thank you, little grub. And now we have Shigo versus hak-foo. So yeah, they send hak-foo to get another talisman. Draco interrupts Shigo's spa, which is not that pleased, I don't think.
The last human you will ever lay eyes upon.
Alright, I'm game. Let's play!
Really good soundbite there. So and if I remember correctly, this is the 4th talisman they're after, because Valmont got the one from Sarush, and then they got the one from Narissa. And then there was, and then they had Haku get the one from Jasper in the Forest, and now it's this one from Shigo.
No, you didn't.
Okay, that's pretty hilarious. And here we have Silver and McLeach versus Bishop. Which, I'll be honest, this did not exactly turn out the way as I was expecting. I thought what was going to happen was, Silver and McLeach would ally. They would go to the prison, and, oh, by the way, nice, notice that we saw the Ninja Turtles on Bishop's glasses. Just thought I'd point that. Anyway, as I was saying, I thought they were going to fight Bishop for a while, then break Jasper and Forrest out of prison, then send them to Mach, who will then send them to the live-action realm with Corella. And one idea of a fight, and I think a lot of people had suggested this idea, to have Jasper and Forrest fight Harry and Mark from Home Alone. I just think that'd be hilarious. And this is a good fight, except one little nitpick that I might want to point out. It's just that you already used the clip of these aliens right here, and then them fall into their death. You know, when they fought Eris back in round 1. Did they survive that one fight and then come back and they just died all over again? I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me. And here we have the Pack versus Zartan and the Dreadnoks. Coyote comes in with the Pack. And they go out to take out this biker gang. Not much to say on this fight. Mostly because I'm not that familiar with the Pack. I'm also not that familiar with, these biker dudes. I mean, I know they're from G.I. Joe, so that's about it. just kind of watching the fight right now. Yeah, like I said, I mean, this is a really good round. It's just quite a few of these fights, I just don't have that much to say because, like, these guys I'm not that familiar with. So, yeah. Still a good fight, though. And now we go to the live action round where we have Calabar versus Evil Genius. Maxim Horvath sends Calabar to take out Evil Genius. I guess that's what's happening. This was an interesting fight and very unexpected to see Calabar. Even though I've never seen Halloween Town, I just find it strange that you use a Disney Channel original movie villain in this series. But in a good way. And like I said about Evil Genius, I've never seen Time Bandit, so I don't know anything about this villain. But he looks kind of awesome. So glad to finally see him get a fight. And I understand that you said something that we'll see Calabar's son, Cal, later on in the series, and he'll get a larger role. Okay, this fight I have a lot to say about. Dr. Doofenshmirtz versus Destro. And all I have to say is, when I heard this on the boards, I just went, yes! Because, okay, yeah, okay, that's kind of weird why I paused it, but the thing is, ever since I discovered the series on YouTube, I have been, like, over a year and a half ago, I have been waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and waiting for you guys to include Doofenshmirtz in the war, and he's finally here. Because I know it sounds, as strange as it sounds, he's actually one of my favorite Disney television villains. I know it's an odd choice, but I don't know, he just appeals to me for some reason. And I do like Phineas and Ferb, and I think it's actually a pretty decent show. And although this is a good fight, but the thing that threw me off when I first read this on the board is that you have Doofenshmirtz fight Destro. I mean, it's not that it's a bad choice, it's just, when I imagine you're going to have Doofenshmirtz fight a villain, I was thinking someone more on his level, you know, like Plankton from SpongeBob, or Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory, or Crocker from The Fairly OddParents. You know, that would still be pretty cool if you can get him to fight someone like that. Another idea I had, though, was he can fight a Hacker from Cyber Chase, that PBS Kids show. Which, by the way, I think it'd be really cool if you can include Hacker on here somehow. Because I did watch some Cyber Chase when I was a kid, when it came on PBS Kids. And if you included Hacker in this series, I think that would be really, that would just bring back so many childhood memories. And one idea I thought of, I may have shared this with you already, Central Man, that I had the idea that maybe he can join with Mach. Because Mach doesn't have any television villains in this faction, while everyone else pretty much does. Like, an idea I had for an epilogue piece, that maybe you can have Mach just in his robe, he's lying on his couch or whatever, and you use the clip where from Rock and Rule where Angel is rubbing his shoulders, but in this series it'd be Hollywood doing it. And while he's just relaxing, Hacker comes in and decides to forge an alliance with Mach. At first he gets a little tick for being disturbed, but he eventually lets him in. At least that's the idea I had. Anyway, back to the fight. This is a pretty good fight, though, I'll say. Interesting, you have Doofenshmirtz use the Steel Clan to fight Destro's men. So yeah, I'm really glad Doofenshmirtz is here, although, how do I put this? I am a little concerned, though, exactly how you're going to use him. Like, how often are we going to see him in this war? Because, from what I read on the forum, Manwu really dislikes Doofenshmirtz. And that gets me kind of worried, exactly, because I'm really hoping that you'll give him some kind of a role. Like, you'll have him interact with big villains. Okay, I'm not saying Xanatos isn't a big villain, he is a big villain, but I'm talking about, like, a big movie villain. Like, you know, have him interact with Maleficent, Jafar, Hades, Dr. Facilier, or even a non-Disney villain. Like, if I see a scene in this series where Doofenshmirtz is interacting with Mach, that would just make my day. It would make my day if that happens. I'm just saying, it would be awesome. It would be legit. I don't know why. It just, whenever I see certain characters interact with other certain characters, it just gets me all excited. So, yeah, but like, for example, back in round 6 epilogue, where you had Krill interact with Mach, that got me all psyched out. And, just for example, I don't know why, it's just that feeling you may get when you see your favorite character interact with another very awesome character. And I understand that Mamoon doesn't like Doofenshmirtz, but, you know, I'm just hoping you give him some kind of a role somehow, because, I mean, there's still a little bit of Part 2 left, and there's still a Part 3, and Doofenshmirtz has a lot of footage. I mean, I know a lot of that footage you may not be able to use, but there are a few scenes you could use for fight footage, like the episodes of Phineas and Ferb where he makes innators that are in the forms of guns. You could use those scenes to, like, blast at a villain. And I know he's one of the bumbling, buffoonish type villains like Dr. Draken, but you could take artistic liberty and make him really awesome, like what you did with Captain Hook, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just really hope you guys, you know, that you give Doof some kind of a role in this series. But I think it's awesome that he's... Wait, does Xanatos recruit Doofenshmirtz, or is he just seeing how good of a villain he is, or whatever? Or is Doofenshmirtz being kind of a freelancer? He's just going around seeing if any faction would hire him. Just wondering. You know, the thing about Phineas and Ferb is that I noticed it's become a really, really, really popular Disney TV show. And the funny thing is, when it first came out, and when I first saw the previews for it, I was thinking to myself, okay, this looks kind of weird. At least that's what I thought. But one day I saw my little brother watching an episode, and I decided, you know what, I'll just sit down and see what this is like. And wouldn't you know it, it hooked to me. I got hooked to it, because it's actually a really, really good show. I mean, yeah, it's a semi-serious comedy show, but I think it's a really entertaining show. I mean, it won a lot of awards, and even parents enjoy watching the show with their kids, from what I read online. In fact, right now I'm making a fan fiction series called Phineas and Ferb in Primeval, or PNF Primeval. You know, it's a combination of Phineas and Ferb and Primeval, one of my favorite live-action TV shows. Which, by the way, Primeval New World, the Canadian spin-off, just started. And I believe episode 2 comes out tonight, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, you know, the funny thing is, I'm not even sure why Phineas and Ferb is such a popular Disney show nowadays. I mean, I guess it's because of the personality of each of the characters. You know, like, Phineas, he's the happy-go-lucky-day guy who's always in a good mood. Ferb is the silent stepbrother. Isabella is the cute little fireside girl. Buford is the Dutch bully. Baljeet is the Indian nerd. And Candace, well, she has 2 personalities. You know, when she's busting her brothers, she's all crazy and psychotic. When she's not busting her brothers, she's calm and kind and caring, and sometimes nervous, especially around Jeremy. And of course, Doofenshmirtz, he's the buffoonish villain, but a lot of people like him that way. In fact, he's such a popular Disney villain that if you go on YouTube and watch certain videos that are tributes to Disney villains, like one video I saw, someone did the villain song "It's Our House Now" from Mickey's House of Villains, and all the villains they used in the video were Disney movie villains, except for one, and it was Doofenshmirtz. Another example, they were doing Grim Grinning Ghost, the version from House of Mouse. All the Disney villains were movie villains, except for one, and it was Doofenshmirtz. See, that shows you how popular of a television villain he's become. He's so popular that they just had to fit him in with movie villains. And I just think you should give him some sort of a role in this series, you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, you might have a few angry fans on your hands. Or maybe not on the forum, but, you know, like on YouTube or whatever. Just saying. Another reason I think Phineas and Ferb is so popular is because it does have a message in it, if you think about it. I mean, I remember it when History Buff, he went over in his Round 8 commentary about how Static Shock had a lesson to teach, but it was hidden behind a Batman-like show. Where Phineas and Ferb, on the other hand, the message isn't really hidden very well. It's basically very clear that we should make the best of our summer vacation and all that, and have as much fun as possible or whatever. In fact, one of the Phineas and Ferb songs, Gotta Make Summer Last, basically that's what it's about, sort of. See, I think it's a very inspiring comedy show, and I'm glad Doofenshmirtz is finally here. Although, like I keep saying, I hope you make him appear, like, again later soon, and have him interact with some really awesome villains. Yeah, sorry about that ramble. That lasted for a while. Normally my ramblings don't last that long. But overall, this is a really good fight. It's nice to see more of Destro, because he's pretty awesome, from what I'm seeing in these videos. And I also hope you do sound bites of Doofenshmirtz, because he makes some pretty snarky comments, if you know what I mean. And Doof gets away. That was a good fight, even though it figures Doofenshmirtz would lose. Alright, here we have Queen Narissa and Nathaniel versus Lord Voldemort and Wormtail. So Hordak sends Narissa and Nathaniel to the live-action realm. By the way, it's great to see Narissa again, because we haven't seen her since round 5. And so they go out to get this cube thing, but Voldemort is there to get it as well. You know, it's very ironic that Nathaniel and Wormtail are both played by the same actor, and you have them interacting. I find that very ironic. And we have two total awesome villains going at each other. And good to see more of Voldemort, even though, like I said, I haven't seen the majority of the Harry Potter films. And I still have not seen Enchanted. And here we have Zorg's men grabbing the cube. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the cube. It's got a very weird name to it, so yeah. And finally, Demona versus Ebon.
An alliance.
And like you said, there's someone under that cape, even though that's really from a Marvel show, but in this case, it's some other villain that we don't know yet. So I can't wait to know who it is. And good to see Ebon again, even though I've never watched Static Shock. We haven't seen him since round 8. And I understand that here you kill off Ebon, which is surprising because he just made an appearance and you already kill him off. I'm assuming that means he doesn't really have that much footage. Or maybe you just didn't really know what to do with him in this series. You just felt like this is a decent place to kill him off. And that's another thing. I realized that I'm guessing this is the round where we start killing off a lot of different villains. Because first you got rid of Technis and now Ebon. So I'm guessing that means we're going to see the finishing of a lot of these villains now. Alright, now the epic log. See, like I said earlier, Savarius looks really different here than he did the way we saw him earlier. I mean, does anyone else notice that? I don't know, I'm just wondering. And he joins Cobra's forces. And Mirage meets up with Xera's faction in Pride Rock.
What a drab, dreary place.
Now this I'm really excited for right here. And I'm assuming, I'm sensing a Forces of Xera versus the Forces of Mum-Ra fight soon. And Shere Khan is a bit suspicious about this. You know, we haven't seen much of Shere Khan in the series, because if I remember correctly, this is the 3rd round that Shere Khan appears in. And we're already on round 10 of part 2, so he hasn't really appeared that much. He's a very popular Disney villain, yet he hasn't really appeared that much. So I hope we do see more Shere Khan in the future. Because he's awesome.
Mr. Xanatos, we have a problem. Demona lied to us.
Fearsome
And
creature
Puck
once
turns Demona human.
change it by the light of day.
us throughout the night, and be thou flesh by dawn's fair lights.
I'm assuming Puck is really Owen, though, from what I understand. I wonder where that's gonna lead.
Hippocrates slip, and you'll see.
And Nasty Slick, I think that's his name, gives Saluk the last remaining of the talismans, which I'm sensing the forces of Saluk versus the forces of Valmont in the future. And again, you introduce another Jumanji villain, which is interesting. Meanwhile, Zorg's men sends Zorg, the cube, but out comes Pinhead. Now, are they becoming allies right here, or what exactly is happening? Because I only briefly read the description.
This is a holocaust waiting to wreak itself.
And Jareth, the villain from the Labyrinth, meets up with Bavmorda. Two movies I've never seen.
That will exile the child's spirit into oblivion.
And what child are they talking about exactly? Well, I guess we'll have to wait in the next round.
I shall rule a multiverse, Karai. Computer, this is the Shredder. I wish to learn about alternate dimensions. Show me everything.
And I think I know where this is going right here.
We're having some difficulty with a new arrival. He doesn't quite fit in.
Okay, this part really threw me off right here. Like, I did not see it coming. You brought Gaston back into the war. And as much as I dislike Gaston for a Disney villain, I guess it is okay that he brought him back. I mean, hey, it could have been worse. You could have brought Tyler back into the war. You're not thinking about doing that, are you? I don't know. Like I said, I guess it's good to see Gaston is back, even though Echidna's not sure about this. And Facilier transforms Gaston into whatever the heck this thing is. I know I keep trying to name each of the villains he used in the series, but I'm serious. This guy, I'm not sure who he is. Is he also from Gargoyles? Because that's what he looks like. Like, if someone could tell me who this guy is, that'd be great. And I find it highly ironic that Gaston gets turned into a beast himself. Does anyone see the irony in that? And Amon is finally here. And I just love Ratcliffe's reaction right there. He's kind of like, who? So yeah, it's about time we saw Amon in the series, even though I've never watched The Legend of Korra. But it does seem interesting, and Amon does seem like a very interesting villain. So, yeah, that was, that was part 2, round 10. It was a really good round. Sorry about that, whole ramble on Doofenshmirtz and Phineas and Ferb. It's just I felt like I wanted to give some of my opinions out. And I really can't wait for round 11, although, from what I read on the guessing game, I'm really stumped at who is who. Although there is one that I think I know, and if it's what I think it is, I'm gonna sense a history buff's not gonna like it too much, if you know what I mean. But then again, maybe they won't last that long in the fight, you know what I mean? And like I said, I've been doing a fanfiction called Phineas and Ferb and Primeval that's on DeviantArt right now. I might post a thread in a little bit, so if you guys want to, you can check it out. I'm already on Series 3, on episode 8 of it, so I've worked a lot on it. So yeah, this is CK Primal 7, and have a nice day.